What's up, friends? I wanted to give you a couple of heads up before I start this episode. I wanted to sort of give you a little bit of background for that. So what you're about to watch is the part 2 of what professors do for a living. Yes, what does that mean? That means that in the first episode, you saw that professors travel to do talks, whether it be about book projects or to do lectures on whatever research they got going on or whatever expertise that they have. So in this episode, I talked to you about how professors have to publish books. Well, we don't have to, but if we want job security, if we want promotion in our particular fields, that's one of the things that we have to do. For me, not only was it about promotion and job security, but it was about communicating with my community and others. When I say my community, I mean my Cape Verdean community, my Black community, and other people that are interested in Cape Verdean society and culture. It was important for me to put something together that reflected that. So this is why this work is important, this publication for me, but it's part of what professors do. They want to do something that not only is professionally required, but they want to also do things that uplift the communities that they write about. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello there, friends. This is Dr. Terza coming to you from 1,000 Seeds, Living Life on Purpose. I am so excited to be here with you this week. I hope that you've had an amazing week. I'm having a tremendous week. This is a very, very special episode that I'm bringing to you for several reasons, and I'm ready to tell you all about it. If this is your first time joining me, welcome and thank you for subscribing. I'm so excited you're here. If you are a returning friend, welcome back. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed to my channel that you do so. Like some of the videos that I also have on my channel, make sure you check them out. The reason why I said that this is a very, very special episode because I'm in my home country of Cape Verde, and I'm actually coming to you from the bedroom that I was born, and it's in my grandmother's house. So yes, I was born in this bedroom that you see here. Back in the late 70s, the Cape Verdean community still used midwives, and so I was born at home to my mom and my dad, and yeah, so this room right here brings all these lovely memories, and in some of my return trips back home, I have stayed here. This room is in my grandmother's house. At the time, my parents were building our home just down the street from where I am right now, and so they were living with my grandmother when my mom was pregnant. And so I am coming to you to bring you an episode to talk about something that is very dear to my heart, which is the book that my friend and I, Amina, co-wrote and edited together. It came out around this time last year. It's called Poderosa, Cabo Verdean Women, Writing, Remembrance, Resistance, and Revolution, Criolla Poderosa. And so I couldn't have picked a better, I didn't think about a better place to do this episode from, to share this book with you and the idea about this book with you, since I was home doing some other research of some plans that I have for my future professional stuff. I said to myself, I have to do it in the room. I have to bring you the background and the story from the room that I was born in. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking to you about Poderosa, the book, as we call it, and where the idea came from, why Amina and I think and thought about how important it would be for our community. And so I bring you Poderosa. So we call it Poderosa the book. The idea, it came from not just of our need in our desire to write a book that documented Cape Verdean history, which includes the history of Cape Verdeans in the diaspora, from the perspective of women, but also to have women, Cape Verdean women, tell our stories, because we find it important to have the voice of women, those who identify as women, to be part of our national memory. And so Amina and I had been working on putting together the Terza conference, the International Conference on Cape Verdean Women, which we began the process of planning in 2015. The first conference happened in 2016. And we said that we wanted to memorialize the conference by getting some of the work or all of the works that were presented at the conference and make sure that it was documented, well documented in a book. So the idea of the book is actually part of a collection, a collective of ideas that Amina and I put together and envisioned to make sure that the story of Cape Verde and Cape Verdean women was being told by us and for us, so that we created a national memory or a history that we could leave behind as legacy for our children, and that told the stories of our ancestors and honored them in a way that brought joy and brought a lot of happiness and honored our ancestors and our current mothers, fathers, cousins, and all that good stuff. So that's where the idea comes from. It comes from us working on the conference for so long and knowing that the conference wasn't just, the idea of bringing together the Cape Verdean community didn't just end with the conference, but that it was memorialized with a book that would sit in libraries, in colleges, in high schools, in anywhere that people want to find out about people's history. That was the important thing about Terza. One of the most important things that you must know about this book is the cover. The cover image pays homage and it honors my grandmother, Maria, and Amina's grandmother, Miss Fernandes. And so we wanted to put our grandmothers on the cover because we wanted to honor them, but also sort of invoke the feeling that once you pick up this book, that you, whether you're Cape Verdean or not, that you understood that we were honoring the past, the present, and the future. And so, for example, Amina's grandmother, who's now an ancestor, we wanted to make sure that we let her spirit know that this was written for her and all of the other ancestors who have passed on. And my grandmother, Maria, who is still alive, we wanted her to know that not only is she part of the past, but she also embodies the present and the future of Cape Verdean history as well. So we wanted to make sure that we honored family, and so we feel that this would allow Cape Verdean people to feel that connection, right? And so that they knew that this wasn't about just a publication that Amina and I had to get done, but that this was our life's work, that we really, really understood the importance of honoring our people. So this was written with all Cape Verdean people in mind, not just some academic book that needed to be published, but something that we felt that needed to be done for our community, for our families, for our history. And what better way than put our grandmothers on the cover? So that is the significance of this cover for us, and we think for the community in general. So what will you find inside this amazing collection, if I should say so myself? This collection embodies 21 works by academics, by community leaders, activists, entrepreneurs, poets, artists, Supreme Court justices, just an amazing collection of women, writers and thinkers, intellectuals who wanted to share their words and their voices and their messages with our community. And who are we? We come from all over the world. We are Cape Verdean women who were born in Cabo Verde, like myself. We're Cape Verdean women that were born in the diaspora, like Amina. And we all have this love and this immense duty and responsibility to make sure that our community is well and thriving. And some of this work just really signifies our need to tell our story, to be able to say, hey, Cape Verdean women can tell Cape Verde's story, and not just the story of Cape Verdean women. We can tell the story of political participation in Cape Verde, like Roselma Évora did in this edition. We can tell the story of how the youth participate in elections and in the livelihood of the society, like Aleida Borges did, who is a Criolla based out of the UK, who just finished her PhD. We can tell the story through poetry, through the spoken word, like Eva Brito, who is a US-based Criolla, born in Cabo Verde. And we can tell the history of Cape Verdean literature, like the Honorable former Supreme Court Justice of Cabo Verde, Vera Duarte, who was the first woman Supreme Court Justice. And so this is such a special collection because it's, again, and I stress this important point, it's not just for the academic mind, it's for all of us. I think about who I wrote this book for, right? When I wrote my chapter, I was thinking about a good friend of mine, Jennifer Guglielmo. She's a historian at Smith College, and she said, ask yourself who you're writing for. So anytime I write something, I think about who I'm writing this for. And this, I was making sure that I was writing it for my grandmother, my mom, Yvonne, and my daughter, Max. And so I wanted to make sure that I produced something that 3 generations of women could understand and be proud of. So since last year, Amina and I have been able to bring book presentations and talks to different places throughout the United States and beyond. Fortunate to have graced the virtual and physical campuses of places like Howard University, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Providence College, University at Buffalo. It's just been really a fascinating journey to know that the different spaces that we've been able to take up to tell our story, to spread the word on why the book is important and why it's not just for the Cape Verdean community, it's for all of those who want to learn about immigrant stories, who want to see different connections between families and how, for example, food creates connections between family members and creates the memories and the traditions. It's also a chapter in this book. The book also includes a chapter by Candida Rose, who wrote about Cape Verdean women in music, both in Cabo Verde and throughout the world and United States as well. So, I mean, it's just fascinating. I'm so proud of this. I'm so proud of the scholars and all the women who allowed us to use their voices and their words in this process. So I really hope that you get a copy. I'm going to put the information down below for you to know what link you need to press on. But it's been so well received. It's been so celebrated by the Cape Verdean community. The support has been amazing. And also other spaces that are not Cape Verdean per se, but they see the value in telling diverse African stories, because ultimately the bigger, the broader place that this book belongs and is situated is on diaspora community stories, diaspora politics, African immigrant stories, diversifying the way that we see African communities in the United States. So Amina and I are extremely proud of this work and its reach. It's global, it's regional, it's local reach. And it is something that we are also proud because we can tell younger generation of Cape Verdeans that we put something together that they can use to reference their culture, right? There's a piece of literature that is pretty much designed and created with such care in mind for the Cape Verdean community. So I think for me, the importance of this particular book and continuing to write, to document, not only write, because there's different ways to document one's history. And I'm sort of doing it right now, right? I'm recording this video so that you can get a synopsis of what this book is about and why we wrote it. The importance of this is so that we continue to tell our own stories, because when you don't tell your story from your perspective, other people will certainly do that, and they will they're often not going to tell it like you would. And oftentimes I know that we tend to not think that our stories are important, and I'm here to tell you that every single story, all of our individual stories are important because they're very different. They make up the fabric of society, and when we don't tell our own stories, like we lose the risk of somebody else telling our stories for us. And oftentimes it's people who are not part of our society, people who may read about us, who may visit, and they're not going to tell our stories the way that we can. With the particularities that we can, with the feelings and the memory. And so that's why it's really important to tell our stories, our own cultural stories. For far too long, the African story has been told by other people, and it's about time that we start creating our own memories so that our children can know the rich history that exists. And so it's something that they can be proud of, right? And so for far too long, Cape Verdeans have minimized our importance to the world, our contributions. And in this book and so many other books that have been written by us already, and those that are coming, tell the beautiful stories on how we are woven into the fabric and the history of the world and our importance. And so that's the message that I would have for Cape Verdeans and Black and brown people in general, to make sure that we're telling our own stories and that we're not afraid of that they're not as important or that they don't matter. They do matter, and they must be told from our perspective. So I urge this newer generation of Cape Verdeans, of Africans, to document their stories, to chat with their grandparents, with their elders in general, to find out what the elders used to do on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes it's not all about politics and government and all of that, but you want to know your everyday stories, how your grandmother, your grandfather, uncles and aunts used to live, how was regular society like. It doesn't always have to be focused on slavery and colonialism and from that perspective, but we can talk about the impact of those systems onto our elders and our ancestors. So it's really important to tell the story from that perspective. How did they live? What was regular life like? And that's what you'll find in this collection as well. We tell the story of the people from their perspective, because there's a lived history, there's a lived story to be told from the people's perspective. And I think that this younger generation is starting to understand the importance of it, and they're documenting it. Perhaps not as much as in books, but I urge them to get their iPads, their phones, their computers, and start doing the work, because if I had the technology that y'all do when I was growing up, I'd have had like a mountain of documentation. So I hope that you're doing the work. Don't be shy. Everything that you're doing should be seen as important. I hope that you've enjoyed my discussion of Poderosa, the book. I also hope that you check out the Poderosa website. So it's at poderosaconference.com. We also have social media accounts, all of them, IG, Twitter, Facebook. Of course, most importantly, I hope that you caught the book. All of that, all of the links will be down below. And get to know, if you're not Cape Verdean, get to know Cape Verdean history. If you're Cape Verdean, let your friends know about it. Pick this up yourself. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Tell your story through any medium that you see necessary, and let the world see us in the beautiful light of the people that we are. And don't forget to also like and subscribe to my channels and my videos. Either way, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching my videos. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.